I spent quite a bit of time on the phone with Mike Hill talking about the Superbird. I had a pretty good impression of what I was going to be getting when it showed up. Somebody had stripped it early in its life, maybe back in the mid-70s, and that's what caused all the decay on the outer part of the body panels, like the quarters and the doors and the fenders, that kind of stuff. But looking around it and like looking underneath it, it looks like the structural part is not in bad shape. Like the inner frame rails, front frame rails, rockers, things like that, it look like they've survived good.
These cars, to me, were my ultimate muscle car.
Mike had wanted a Superbird from the time he was a little kid. There was an urban legend in town that a guy had one.
Whenever I would pass by this gentleman's house, from the road, you could just see the tips of the wings as you were coming by. It was one of those things that where I said, if I ever get a chance, I was gonna go over there and see if I could buy these cars.
However, the urban legend also said that the guy that owned the car was a lunatic who would sick his dog on you and kill you if you went up and so much as knocked on the door and asked about him. So Mike never did.
We decided to build a Daytona clone.
They got quite a ways on the Daytona. They got the rear body panel replaced on it from the 68 to the 69. They changed the side markers out.
So we get our parts together on the tail end of the car. Well, when it comes to the front end of the car, I have no idea how to hang this fiberglass nose on it. So I discussed it with a guy that I met at the post office. He's an old gearhead buddy of mine. He said, you know what? He said, why don't you go around to the guy's house and show him that you're actually working on a wing car by taking your parts, and you might have a chance of getting a look at his car.
And he did just that. He collected the few parts that he had questions about, got his son in the car, and they went over to the guy's house.
Sure enough, he met me at the door. He comes out of the door and says, can I help you? I go around to the back of my truck, and I quickly grab the fiberglass nose cone, hold it up to show him, hey, I've got parts here. And he says, what can I help you with?
After Mike explained to him it was a father-son project that they were working on together, I think that softened the blow to the old man, and he says, yeah, if you want to take some pictures, go take some pictures.
We get out of the truck, we start heading back to the woods, and as I look back in the woods, I see two Superbird wings, just as plain as day. Here you got the year 2007, and these cars are still in this guy's backyard, undiscovered, unrestored, just sitting there.
I guess the guy that owned the cars really took a liking to Michael and to his dad and the idea that they were working on a project together, and I think they began to form a friendship out of that.
You know, when we went to the truck, I thanked him for his time. I reached across the dash, and I got one of my business cards, and I also got a $10 bill that I had there in the ashtray, and I handed him both of them. And I said, hey, I want you to keep this. And he said, well, what's this for? I'm giving you that $10 so you don't throw away my business card, because I know these are your children, and I know that they're yours, and you want to keep them. But if for any reason you ever decide you want to sell them, I know that you know what you have here, and I know what you have here. Those cars are very rare, and they're worth a lot of money. I'll be willing to give you your price for them. And that's all I said. We didn't talk price. It was just, I'll give you your price for them.
So after a few months, out of the blue, Mike gets a phone call from the guy that owns the cars saying, are you still interested in these things?
I've considered selling you these cars under two reasons. Number one, you don't take these cars and resell them. He says, because my second condition is, you guys being a father-son team, he says, I want to see you end up with one bird, and I want to see him end up with one bird.
Mike made the promise and kept the promise and ended up getting the cars from him.
So it was a really good feeling to come away from all of that, not only with two Superbirds, but to know we've made a new friend here, and that he's going to see his kids come back to life.